The opinions expressed in the Brothers-in-Law show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal professional legal advice.
Thanks for tuning in to Brothers-in-Law on Go Country 105. I'm Larry Mandel.
And I'm Rob Mandel.
And we've been trial attorneys here in Los Angeles for over 40 years.
On our show, we will discuss current events, talk about legal issues, and have some very entertaining guests stop by. So stay tuned every week for Brothers-in-Law right here on Go Country 105.
Hey folks, welcome back to Brothers-in-Law Zoom edition. I'm Larry Mandel.
And I'm Rob Mandel. And we're still obviously weathering the pandemic. What are you doing during these times, Larry? You doing anything?
I'm weathering. I'm pretty much at home, working from home, virtual office, and kind of avoiding
That's work.
crowds.
Okay. Are you going out? You doing anything? You seeing anybody with masks on and social distancing, anything like that?
No, I'm sending all my Confederates out. I'm sending people out to get me stuff.
Really?
I'm not going.
So you're not doing anything.
No.
Well,
I'm going to the bank, maybe the ATM and things like that, but not much. How about you, Rob?
I go to the office a couple of days a week, but like you say, we got everything virtually running and beautifully remote. I am going to outdoor restaurants where you got to wear your mask until you get to your table. But it's all been pretty cool. Going to the market, all that kind of stuff. And you know what? We're going to talk about some things that you can do safely on this show, in particularly getting out there on a bicycle, right?
That's right. We're going to talk about bicycle law, and there's a big influx, I think, now of people getting bicycles. When I've called bicycle shops, Rob, because I needed some bicycle repairs, they're like booked up.
Yeah, and you're flying off the shelves.
That's true. And e-bicycles, the electric ones with the motor.
Yeah,
those are selling like hotcakes right now.
People need to get out. They just want some fresh air. But Larry, you're not doing anything. So are you getting out on a bicycle then?
I'm getting out hiking.
You're hiking.
Okay. Hiking, walking.
No bicycling.
No bicycle. Well, a little bit of bicycling, but I need my bike repaired. Remember?
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Before we talk about bicycle riding and how to do it safely and legally and what you can do if you do get hurt on a bike out there, God forbid. We've been doing these, asking people to nominate folks out in the community that have been going above and beyond during the corona crisis. I wish I could talk today. I'm not talking very well today.
Just call it COVID.
Yeah, the COVID crisis. And we've been getting these amazing nominations. For instance, Jeff called to nominate someone he knows. His name is Albert Vera, and this gentleman feeds 500 people with hot meals per week for the Culver City School District, helping out low-income families and children.
Yeah, I want to hear how he pulls that off. 500 hot meals per week.
Per week. That's amazing. Albert Vera. Dave, can you play the message from Jeff, who's nominated his friend Albert?
Hi, my name is Jeff. I'd like to nominate Albert Vera. We live in Culver City, and Mr. Albert Vera has graciously donated for the last 2 months over 500 hot meals a week to low-income families and children for the Culver City School District. If that interests you in learning more about that program, please give me a call back.
That's great. Cam, our producer, do we have Albert on the line?
Cam, the producer, is on mute. We're doing this on Zoom, and you got to unmute and mute, and there's all kinds of little things you got to remember there.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I have Albert Vera on the line. Albert, go ahead and say hi to the Brothers-in-Law.
Hey, Brothers-in-Law, this is Albert Vera. Nice talking to you guys.
Hey, good to talk to you, Albert.
You got
You're
it.
you're quite a guy, feeding 500 people per week. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so on the onset of the pandemic, I got to thinking about families that really are food insecure and how I can best serve them and help them. So I got in touch with one of our local charities here, one of our local organizations, it's the Culver City Backpack for Kids program. And I picked a day out of the week where I figured we can help these families who are part of our school system and they don't have a whole lot of money and they really don't know where the next meal is coming from.
Mm.
So I organized it with them, and to date we've served over 12,000 meals that I gave back to the community. So it's twofold. I help the community and I help some of the businesses struggling in the community survive.
That is
Wow,
fantastic.
That is great. Do you have a background in the food industry, or how did you put this all together?
I have an Italian deli here in Culver City called Sorrento Italian Market. So long background in the food industry and food business, but more so than that, just really involved in the community and particularly my passion is the children that is really ultimately our future, and what better way we need to cultivate and nourish them in any possible way we can, both educationally and through nutrition and food. So I just felt this need that I needed to do something. I needed to step outside of the box and think of a creative way to help out the community and as well as students and families. So I opened it up to the Backpacks for Kids program, and then I opened it up to the city in whole. So anybody who needs a meal on Thursdays, they come on down to Farragut Elementary and I'll feed them. I start feeding from 4 and we feed until we run out of food, and typically it's between 600 and 950 meals a week.
Wow.
Sounds like a
That
hero to
is-
me, right, Rob?
Oh, definitely. And so can you name the elementary school one more time?
So it's Farragut Elementary School in Culver City. It's on Farragut Avenue, I believe. Farragut.
And you start
Yeah,
feeding at 4 in the afternoon or 4 in the morning?
No, 4 in the afternoon. And typically what we do is we service all the members of the Backpack for Kids program. So these are families and children of the program that really don't have a whole lot of money, and they don't know where their next meal is coming from. So we
Wow.
service the families first, and then I open it up to the general public, and then go from there. So yeah, it's on 10820 Farragut Drive in Culver City.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Albert, thank you so much. And so to show our appreciation, we're going to send you a whole bunch of certificates for Ralph's Markets, who's one of our sponsors. And I hope that would help you out. Would that help you out?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100% help out.
All right, man. That's what we're going to do.
Thank
Right,
you,
Larry?
Keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys' time, and I love the show, and thank you for all you guys, what you're doing, and stay safe.
Hey, thank you
too.
so much, Albert. You're a great guy. You're a credit to your community. Thank you so much.
Right on.
Have a wonderful day.
Take care.
Well,
All right.
it's people like that, Rob, that make you feel good about the human race.
That's right.
What can I say?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some bad players out there, but that's the kind of people we want.
Yeah, and just it's sad to hear that in today's United States, there are families who don't know where their next meal is coming from. That's kind of a shocker.
Yeah.
That's kind of a eye opener, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
And-
I mean, when we're worried about other more, materialistic things, they're just worried about their next meal. you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so glad that we can highlight people like that and help them out a little bit, on our show. Because that's what I wanted to do with this show, not just talk about legal things, not just talk about cool people, but also some important issues and highlight folks who are finding solutions,
Right. We
and,
want to inspire.
900 people per week. Wow, that's just something else.
We're Larry and Rob Mandel, the brothers-in-law, here on Go Country 105. Do you have a legal issue you need help with? We want to hear from you.
Find us on Instagram and send us a message. Then tune in on Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on Go Country 105.
Do you need help feeding your family right now? We all know that schools are closed, and some kids rely on free or reduced price meals at school. Visit fns.usda.gov/meals for kids to find a grab and go meal center near you. They are offering 2 grab and go meals for kids. Again, please visit www.fns.usda.gov/meals for kids. 4 is the number 4. And let's make sure all the kids are fed.
Okay, so we were gonna, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, we were going to talk a little bit about bicycles and how they're flying off the shelves because people want to ride their bikes, and there's street bikes, there's the e-bikes, there's the a mountain bike, which is what I prefer to ride. And
You're still riding your mountain bike, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And what I do is I have a little thing that goes around your neck, and you can pull it up and it becomes a mask. And so it's not like a thing that you have to wear all the 100% of the time. So if I'm coming at another rider on a trail and we're going to be tight and I'm going to get a little close to that person, I'm going to pull that up and cover myself so I don't breathe on that person. It's a rare moment, but it happens.
Yeah, because you're huffing and puffing, dude.
You're huffing and puffing. And I'm hoping that they do the same thing, because my mask, does not protect me from their air. And that's what we all got to realize is you wear the mask for the other person. You don't get any protection for yourself by wearing a mask. You're only protecting the other guy from something that you may have. You just don't realize it. You may have gotten the COVID and just don't know it because some people don't get sick right away when they have it, or they just don't notice the symptoms at all. And yet the next guy can die from it. So that's what that's all about. All right. So, Larry, we're looking at a photograph behind you.
Yeah.
And this photo shows a man who's next to the curb on his bike. He's got 2 kids that are basically in line in front of him. And then his wife is out into the street, or his wife, or maybe it's his girlfriend or whoever. It looks like, we're assuming it's his wife, mom. And she's out a little further into the street, kind of running roughshod for those kids. And so is that okay? Can we do that?
That's a good question, Rob. And I'll tell you, it is under certain circumstances. Generally, if you're riding a bike and you're going slower than traffic, you have to be as close to the right side of the street as possible. And this lady is not. It's, they're side by side. However, there are some exceptions. One would be,
what are those?
Well, one would be as if she's going with the flow of traffic. So you don't have to ride to the very right of the roadway if your bicycle is going at the same speed as traffic. Then you can occupy the lane. The other exception is this. If you're going to pass somebody, then you're allowed to pass and go to the left, but then you have to go back into the lane and go to the right side of the curb.
Yeah. See, here's the way I look at it. I'm looking at what you're talking about, I think makes sense for a busy street, where there's a lot of traffic. And if you're anywhere near a car, just get out of the way on a bicycle. And the rule is, of course, stay as close to the curb as possible. But you don't want to be out there with the cars because they don't see you half the time and they will hit you and hurt you. Now,
this photograph, Rob. This photograph is in a residential area. And I thought you were going to go to the fact, well, it's a residential area. Maybe it's a little bit more lax. But then you make a good point. It doesn't really matter. I mean, a car could be coming, even though you're supposed to go maybe 25 miles an hour in this area, car could still be going 40 miles an hour, less reaction time, and just be distracted for a second. And this poor lady's right in the roadway.
Well, actually, I had the opposite view. No, I had what your original thinking was that this is a pretty quiet street, bunch of houses. Why not? Why not occupy the whole thing and keep her? And she's trying to ride roughshod for her kids. You know, these are little kids on the bike. No, I kind of dig what she's doing there. She's not wearing a helmet. The kids are. The man's not wearing a helmet. What about that?
Well, the law is if you're under 18, it's mandatory. But over 18 and above, you are not required to wear a helmet, although it's not a good idea. Let's face it. I mean,
What's not a good idea?
You've got to wear a helmet. It's not a good idea not to wear a helmet because,
Right.
no matter who you are, you could hit something in the roadway, a divot or a ditch, and go flying. And the last thing you want is to smash your head and suffer a head injury. And at least with a helmet, you have some protection. It's like, on a motorcycle, same deal.
Yeah. So, I don't get too many cases where someone's just going down the road and a car comes up behind them and knocks them down. I know that happens. It's a rare moment. But you know what my most frequent bicycle accident is?
Sidewalk.
A sidewalk. Man, you must have the same experience. Yeah,
I'm
so
just
here-
clairvoyant, Rob.
Yeah. So check this out. I'm going to give you a scenario and you tell me where you think the liabilities lie. I got a guy who's on his bike. Now, one thing we didn't mention, a bicycle has to follow the exact same rules of the road as a car, right?
Exactly. Stop
Yep.
signs, stop lights, etc.
Stay to the right. You're on the right-hand side of the roadway. You're going with traffic, not against traffic. And in some places, like the city of LA, you can ride on the sidewalk. So that's a lot of people think, oh, I'm not allowed to ride my bicycle on the sidewalk. That's not true. But they leave it up to local communities to regulate that. So, right?
That's right. And the city of LA, like you said, allows you to ride on the sidewalk as long as you don't do it in a reckless disregard for the safety of others.
Right. Now, what's weird? You could be riding your bicycle. And before I talk about my guy, I was going to talk about my scenario, but you could be riding your bicycle. Let's say you're going west on Santa Monica Boulevard and you're around Bundy. And this is in LA, of course. And you're going west toward the beach, toward Santa Monica. You're on the sidewalk, completely legal. Soon as you cross Centinela into Santa Monica, do you know what happens? I'm hearing
No.
dead air. Larry.
Well, I'm thinking that either the law has changed for bicycles on sidewalks because it depends on the jurisdiction, or there's no sidewalk there.
Well, no. Overthinking, my man. No. So you're on that sidewalk, and as soon as you cross Centinela into Santa Monica, you cannot be on that sidewalk. Because it's illegal to ride your bicycle on a sidewalk in Santa Monica.
Have you suffered or been injured by someone else's negligence? When you need a legal team that will stand up for what is right, won't give up the fight and obtain justice, call 818-886-6600. Mandel Trial Lawyers specializes in personal injury cases of all types. Whether it's a car accident, product or premises liability, dog bite, or a catastrophic injury, Mandel Trial Lawyers are there for you when the fight is worth it. Call now for your free consultation. 818-886-6600. Let the scales of justice tip in your favor.
Hey folks, do you want to volunteer to help out during the crisis? The Red Cross still needs volunteers in a variety of capacities during COVID-19. Volunteer opportunities include supporting blood donations and delivering much-needed services to your community. They even have a wide variety of remote work-from-home opportunities available. Go to redcross.org/volunteer to sign up. That's redcross.org/volunteer.
Hey, if you missed any part of this show or you just want to hear it again, go to brothersonlaw.com for all of our previous shows and all things Brothers on Law. we have a caller, someone who has a question on bicycle riding.
All right,
Cam,
well,
do you
hold
have that
thought,
caller for us?
Rob, but hold that thought because we're going to talk a little bit more about bicycles on sidewalks, etc.
Sure.
Let's hear from our caller, though.
Okay, I have Jill from Rancho Cucamonga on the line.
Wow. Hi, Jill.
Hi, Jill.
Hi there. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Of course.
So a couple weeks ago, I was backing out of my driveway and I hit one of my neighbor's kids on their bike.
Okay.
This particular family has no regard for our neighborhood, and I guess because we live on a cul-de-sac, they don't think it's necessary to supervise their kids. The little boy thought he could clear the driveway, but he couldn't, and I hit him. He didn't get hurt, but his bike did need a new wheel. So
Okay.
the other day, his parents basically told me that if I don't pay them $5,000 to replace the bike and for therapy for their son because he's scarred. So what do? Do I just pay him?
Well, that's an expensive bike if they're asking for $5,000. You may want to just turn it over to your insurance company and let them deal with it. It sounds like to me, Robin, you can weigh in on this too, is that there may be some comparative negligence. If the child is not being properly supervised, it depends on the age and some other factors, that would then discount the amount that a person would pay based upon the percentage of each party's fault.
Yeah, we don't have all the facts that, that you're describing. We're getting kind of a general feel as, you're backing up and there's the kid coming around trying to clear the driveway. Is the kid on the sidewalk and going across your driveway at the moment that you're backing out?
Yeah, so I apparently, when I looked, there was no one on the sidewalk, so I don't know if he was in the street and went up the other neighbor's driveway and crossed onto the sidewalk at that point when I was looking the other direction. And he thought he could clear the driveway in time for me to, when I was backing out.
Right. These are tough situations because generally speaking, when you're backing out of a driveway or you're exiting a driveway onto a street, you don't have the right of way.
Right.
So everybody else has the right of way when they're on the street. Probably a kid on a bike on a sidewalk has the right of way as you're backing out of your driveway. So like Larry says, this is one. Now, thank God the kid didn't get hurt, right? But
yeah, no injuries.
Yeah. So this is probably one of those situations where you do want to discuss it with your insurance company, and see, how they take a look at it, because they're the ones who are going to defend you against any lawsuit. Or maybe if, since the child was not hurt, maybe just work things out with the neighbor and try and avoid all that. But you have to be cognizant and aware of the fact that when you're backing out of a driveway or entering a street from a driveway, you have to be careful of who the other traffic there and the other people there that may have the right of way.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe you talk to your neighbors first, see if you can work it out on a friendly basis. And if not, then turn it over to your insurance company.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the advice.
Yeah, but we're these are just our loose opinions on the air. And, one should always, whenever you're confronted with something like this, if you can't work things out on an amicable basis, then always reach out to an attorney and retain one. But insurance, if you feel that your insurance is going to come into play, normally they have the right to control that situation and retain counsel for you. All right.
Hey, so Rob, and this is kind of along the same lines that we've been talking about. You've been talking about somebody getting hit on the sidewalk, and this kid sounds like he was on the sidewalk or at the driveway.
Yeah, I'd want to know. I guess I forgot to ask her, but I'd want to know: are you allowed to ride a bicycle in the city on a sidewalk in the city of Rancho Cucamonga?
Yeah,
that kind of would pertain to that. I would think to some extent.
Again, it goes to more comparative negligence if it's violation of the law.
It could be.
You know. So
Yeah.
what finished up on your scenario where the person is now in a different jurisdiction, they're riding on the sidewalk, and they are.
Let's say you can legally ride on the
ordinance.
sidewalk in this place, but they're on the opposite side. They're not on the right side of the roadway. They're on the left side of the roadway, and they're going against traffic. They're going against traffic on that sidewalk. They come up to a crosswalk, a light that they want to cross. It's green. And in a car, just as they're about to cross this crosswalk on a green light, a car pulls up, wants to make a right turn, and the person is looking over their left shoulder to see if there's any cars coming, doesn't see any cars, starts to go. That's when the guy goes into the crosswalk and they hit each other, and the fellow on the bicycle gets hurt.
Now, is the person on the bicycle, is he still in Santa Monica where they allow riding on the sidewalk?
They do not allow it there in Santa Monica. And I
Okay.
said, no, in this scenario, they're allowed to ride on the sidewalk.
Okay. And so the question is if the person's crossing in the crosswalk and they get hit when the car's making a right-hand turn,
Yeah.
is the bicyclist at fault in any way, shape, or form? Is that what your question is?
Well, what do you think?
Well, okay, is the bicyclist riding the bike in the crosswalk, or is the bicyclist walking with the
Okay,
bicycle?
now, don't over lawyer me, Larry. Here, don't do it to me. The guy's
just
on
answer
the
the
bike.
question.
He's riding into the side,
All right,
into the
so here's the
crosswalk
answer.
on a green light.
All
He's
right,
on
so
the wrong side of the street. He's on the crosswalk. He's on the sidewalk, and he's going into that crosswalk on a green light. The guy comes up in the car. He looking over his left shoulder because he wants to make a right turn. He starts that turn, and he hits the guy on the bike.
Okay, so
Now-
here's the answer.
Yeah.
The crosswalk is an extension, and I've researched this in detail. The position would be for the bicyclist is that the crosswalk is an extension of the sidewalk. So if he's allowed to ride on the sidewalk, he's allowed to ride in the crosswalk as long as he's not riding at an excessive rate of speed or endangering other people.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to simplify this because I've had this case so many times, this exact same case. The driver's at fault. You might be able to get some, like you say, comparative negligence assigned to the bicycle rider for, being on the sidewalk and not getting off his bike to cross or being on the wrong side of the street. But a guy in a car with a 3,000-pound machine that can mow people down and kill people has a high duty of care. We all have that high duty of care. And if you pull up to an intersection and you want to make a right turn and you're only looking over your left shoulder before you start to initiate your turn, you don't know what is coming from your right. You're not being fully safe in driving that way. And
Right,
so that's the way it plays out.
We're Larry and Rob Mandel, the brothers-in-law, here on Go Country 105. Do you have a legal issue you need help with? We want to hear from you.
Find us on Instagram and send us a message. Then tune in on Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on Go Country 105.
From all of us on the Brothers-in-Law Show, we want to give a big thank you to these sponsors who we've partnered with to help honor our local heroes and groups for going above and beyond for their community. We'd like to thank Ralph's, Whole Foods, Target, and Chipotle. Thank you for all you do in our community.
Okay, but hear me out. I've had, in these cases where they said, oh no, the person was supposed to be off the bike and they're partially at fault because they weren't walking in the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Rob. And
I've
that's
heard
why I
that
gave
nonsense
you that.
too.
Yeah, and that's why I gave you the scenario. It doesn't matter because the crosswalk is an extension of the sidewalk. So if you can ride on the sidewalk, you can ride in the crosswalk.
Yeah, well, I think it boils down to just basic common sense, safe driving. there's people out there on bicycles, and sometimes they do weird things, but we, when we're in our cars, we got to be watching out for those things. Because what if the guy was a jogger and not a bicyclist? He was just jogging down that sidewalk, and he has a perfect right to do that. Perfect right to jog right into that street, into that crosswalk on a green light, and keep it jogging, keep it running. And the car did the same thing and hit him.
Yeah, and I've made that same argument, Rob.
Yeah.
But you brought up the point that the bicyclist was riding in the wrong direction. He wasn't going, and it doesn't matter if you're on the sidewalk.
I don't think it does. No,
it doesn't. The law doesn't.
Yeah.
Doesn't make that distinction.
All right. So what other pitfalls or things that can befall a bicyclist that we are aware of and that we have dealt with that you could think of?
Well, if you're riding at night, there's some specific laws regarding lighting. It's much more involved than one would think. And just to give you a quick scenario, if you are at night, you have to have a white light like on the front of your bike, and it has to illuminate for 300 feet.
Oh, wow.
And you have to have
it's a lot of lighting.
Yeah, and you have to have a red reflector or a flashing light on the back of your bike, and that has to illuminate for a distance of 500 feet. 500
Wow.
feet. And then
I don't know why people want to ride their bicycles at night. All right, listen, you know what? We've had a lot of fun on this show talking to Albert and to the lady in Rancho Cucamonga. And it's just about that time. We got to say our goodbyes. I hate to say it. So we're going to say our goodbyes till next Saturday. And if you've missed any part of the show or would like to hear our previous shows, go to YouTube, brothersonlaw.com, or iTunes. And if you have a legal question or a show topic, call us and leave us a message at 800-310-7113. I'm going to say that number again, Larry. 800-310-7113. Hey, and stay tuned for the Custody Queens coming up next.
Yeah, we had them on the show. They're great. Anyway, a big thank you to all our listeners that are staying safe out there. Hey, we look forward to being here next week on Saturday at 8 a.m. on Go Country 105. And hey, Rob, remember what?
To let the scales of justice tip in your favor.
The opinions expressed in the Brothers on Law show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal professional legal advice.